right, well, why don't we stay on this topic of energy, because investors are bullish, or who were bullish on wind and solar, certainly closely watching any news around what Emily just talked about, and the Inflation Reduction Act, tax credits, and more. And your next guest says that while it is a rather cloudy time, there is still plenty of sun left to shine, particularly on some big solar stocks. Corinne Blanchard is clean tech analyst at Deutsche Bank, a must-read in the space on the street. Corinne, good to have you back on the program. I know you can't know what D.C. is going to do, so how do you model what you think D.C. might do?
Thanks, Brian, and thank you for having me back. I think it's a valid concern for investors. I think we're very likely to hear a lot of talks and a lot of news around potential regulatory changes over the coming months, and probably have some more clarity coming over the summer. That's definitely an overhang for most investors looking at the space now. And I think the way to approach it is to look at ITC from one side, and I'm talking about the 30% ITC, and then looking at 45X tax credit for First Solar. And we are more positive, or we believe there is a higher likelihood to see the 45X production tax credit to remain in place, and therefore we are a little bit more bullish on First Solar versus the rest of the space here at Deutsche Bank.
Yeah, and it's well said, and I've kind of written the same thing, Corinne, because I do a lot with energy, which the idea you heard the Ohio congressman tell Emily Wilkins exactly this. If you want to build a new housing development outside of Phoenix or Texas or whatever, you're not building a nuclear plant for the next 20 years. You're probably not building a natural gas-fired power plant for the next 5 to 10 years. Solar is your option. Costs are coming down. And there's really only one big utility-scale solar company in the United States. That is Phoenix-based First Solar. Do they kind of have the run of things over everybody else right now in the solar space?
I think if you're looking for a US-based company producing solar panel, First Solar is too, right? Most of the rest of the industry is based in China. So I think that's the name that investors are looking at. Look, I think there is a number of clouds or a number of overhang, whatever you want to call it, that are waiting on the stock right now. And obviously, again, the biggest one being the 45X credit. But I think overall, once we get clarity over this, I think that should help investors to re-enter the name, re-enter the space with a renewed stance, and very likely a little bit more positive. That's what we have heard over the last several months.